All right, we talked about Smackdown yesterday. So today we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. If you're new to wrestling or if you just need a refresher of everything that's happening right now on Monday Night Raw, this is every current storyline on WWE's Monday Night Raw. Now let's get into it. Look, you're already here. Hit that subscribe button. All right, we're going to start off with AJ Styles. AJ Styles is retiring in 2026. So this year is kind of just going to be his thank you tour, right? Like this is just going to be for him to have some great matches and for us to look at how great he is. Look at how phenomenal he is, right? So he was the most recent he was most recently half of the WWE World Tag Team Champions along with Dragon Lee. On the most recent episode of Monday Night Raw, they lost those titles to Jimmy and Jey Uso. So I don't know if that feud's over. I really hope it is. I hope that this is kind of a way to push AJ Styles into a singles run on this being his last year. There was also a segment on this most recent episode of Raw between AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, and Javon Evans, and a Grande Americano known as Two Goons, Rayo, and Bravo. So I feel like maybe they'll have a match at some point, a 3-on-3 match, and then hopefully AJ Styles can just go on and do his own thing, right? Let's leave the tag team thing behind and let's just have him do his own thing. We have Maxine Dupree, who is our current women's IC champion. She she won the title from Becky Lynch a few weeks back. So they've had a feud back and forth. They haven't had a match since Maxine Dupree won. Maxine did have a match where she beat Ivy Nile and defended her title successfully. So that was kind of there to showcase this new and improved Maxine Dupree. Because also Maxine, off screen for some reason, has been training with Natalia. So that's been a lot of fun, right? Natalia is part of the Hart family of Bret Hart. You know, her dad was Jim the Anvil Neidhart. So she has been trained. She has been the person training Maxine Dupree to get this new and improved, tougher, badder, more badassier, if that's a word, Maxine Dupree. But yeah, Maxine Dupree is feuding with Becky Lynch. They have a match also scheduled for this first episode of Monday Night Raw for the year for that IC title. Becky Lynch is also kind of feuding with AJ Lee. So AJ Lee took part in the match that gave Maxine Dupree the title. So in this match between Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch, AJ Lee just showed up. She just showed up and was watching the match from outside the ring. That distracted Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch was pinned 1-2-3, and she lost her IC title. So that's definitely not over. That whole feud between Becky Lynch and AJ Lee started with Seth Rollins and CM Punk. They had a feud for a long-standing feud for a long time. Becky Lynch got involved in this feud somehow, some way. I don't actually remember. But then CM Punk kept getting beaten up by Becky Lynch, and he's like, I don't hit a woman, so I brought my own back up, and then AJ Lee shut up, and that's how she came back to our screens to rejoin WWE. So that feud's not over between Becky Lynch and AJ Lee. So they're probably going to have a match at some point. I feel like this is a long-winded story that will end in a WrestleMania match, and I am all here for it. I'm pretty sure she's also going to get involved in this upcoming match between Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch for the IC title and cost Becky Lynch the title once again. So that's that whole convoluted thing that's happening there. We have Gunther, who is kind of the biggest, baddest heel on WWE because he made John Cena tap out on his retirement match, on his last match. The story with Gunther is we all hate him. That's literally the story with Gunther and WWE, is everyone in the WWE universe, as WWE loves to call it. We all hate him. We hate him because he made our childhood hero tap out. Not mine, but, collective ours. My childhood hero is Stone Cold Steve Austin. But he made everyone's childhood hero tap out in John Cena, and apparently we all hate him now because he's a wrestler who did his job. He has been trolling everyone with the fact that he made John Cena tap out. This most recent Monday Night Raw, he came out with a shirt that said tapped out like a ... and they had a picture of John Cena being choked out by Gunther as he tapped out. Most recently, he had a match with R-Truth, who was trying to defend John Cena's honor for some reason. I mean, John Cena is R-Truth's childhood hero, so he made R-Truth tap out just like his childhood hero. So yeah, Gunther's storyline is that he's a troll and he's trolling everyone, and he's damn good at it, honestly. He also retired Goldberg, so I feel like that's his thing now. He's probably going to have the last match against AJ Styles and probably retire him as well. So I love this Gunther. I love Gunther. I love Gunther. I think he's a great wrestler, and I absolutely love him. And he plays this role so well. So that's what Gunther's up to on Monday Night Raw. I mentioned them earlier, but we have Jimmy and Jey Uso. The Usos, they are our current tag team champions on Monday Night Raw. They beat AJ Styles and Dragon Lee this week. I feel like their next feud is against the New Day. So Xavier Wood and Kofi Kingston. Grayson Waller's also part of the New Day, but I don't know how that fits into all this. But I feel like their next feud is going to be against the New Day. I honestly want them to immediately lose it with the New Day because we have this like main storyline with Jey Uso, which is that he can't get a win, right? This most recent episode on Raw, we had a segment backstage between Jimmy and Jey, where Jey was basically talking about how he lost his smile, right? He can't get a win and he doesn't want to drag his brother down. And I feel like he needs to lose. He lost against Gunther in the Last Time Is Now tournament to face John Cena. He then crashed out by the ring. He threw everything around the ring. He threw the Prime hydration station, which is good for you, Jey. He threw everything from on top of the announce desks and everything. Hit the stairs. So he's having a moment where he doesn't believe in himself. That's the story we're telling with Jey Uso. So I really need the Usos to lose these titles immediately because I need that story with Jey Uso to progress. I don't want him to go back to just being a tag team with his brother. I don't think anyone wants that. So I hope they lose these titles soon. Like I said, the New Day were a part of this title scene before the Usos won it, or while the Usos were winning it. So I feel like they have next. And I just want the Usos to win. That's it. I want the New Day to win. That's it. I want the Usos to lose their title immediately, and I want this story with Jey to progress. We have this very complicated women's tag team scene that I talked about in my previous episode for SmackDown, but we're going to talk about it again. We have the current tag team champions with the Kabuki Warriors being Kairi Sane and Asuka. They have a match on this upcoming Raw on January 5th against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky for those titles. I feel like this match is going to end in a no contest because there's a whole field of women's tag teams that are in line trying to win these titles, and I feel like we need a multi-person match. We need an 8-team, I don't know how many it is, 6-team tag team match. Put it on a ladder. Let's have these women just go at it and have a champion at the Rumble. Let's have them just have match of the night at the Royal Rumble. So those women are, like I said, the Kabuki Warriors as the tag team champions, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. We also have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. We have Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, Lash Legend and Nia Jax. And we also have Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. Guys, that was all off the top of my head. I ain't looking at my paper once. But this tag team scene has been really entertaining. I feel like WWE has always put the women's tag team scene kind of in the back burner. There aren't a lot of women's tag teams in WWE. So I'm really glad that they're getting their spot or their time in the spotlight because they absolutely deserve it. And they've been killing it. This somehow has become the most important titles in the WWE women's division, and I'm here for it. So I really want this to end in a multi-team match. I feel like that's where they're headed. But I also feel like WWE always lets me down. So who knows? But it's been a really entertaining run here for the US or for the women's tag team championships for sure. All right, the Judgment Day are a story of their own. So you have Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, who are both currently injured. You also have Finn Balor. You have Liv Morgan, who just came back from injury. You have Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. So like I said, Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough are both out on injury currently. Dominic Mysterio is the current IC champion and Triple A Mega Campeón. I don't know what they're doing with that there, but he's the current IC champion, and I don't know. They said he was gone they said indefinitely. So I don't know if that means a week. I don't know if that means 6 months. I don't know if this means that he's going to have to relinquish the title and we'll have, some sort of tournament, some sort of multi-person match to see who wins it, some sort of number one contendership tournament to have. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is for this. They haven't mentioned what their plan is for this, but Dominic Mysterio has been a great IC champion. He hasn't defended it a whole lot, but he's just great. So I'm going to defend Dominic Mysterio every chance I get, honestly. But that's what's happening there. there's kind of internal turmoil within the Judgment Day, just like there's been for the last 2 years. Uh, Mostly, so Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor have kind of been going back and forth about who the true leader is, and Finn Balor really wants an IC title. He really wants a title. He had been feuding for the IC title when Dominic Mysterio won it. So, like, that's a whole thing that was put on the back burner. Currently, like I said, Liv Morgan just came back, and she came back wanting a title shot for Stephanie Vaquer's Women's World Championship. But Raquel Rodriguez was already kind of a part of this scene. So she's been feuding with Raquel Rodriguez. And it feels like Liv is kind of in the back, like maybe sabotaging her or maybe just like not helping her win this title, which is really interesting and really weird. Meanwhile, Liv and Roxanne Perez have been putting their name in the hat that is the women's tag team scene. So what you need to know is that the Judgment Day have always had internal turmoil. They've been breaking up for the last 2 or 3 years, and that hasn't changed. And there's currently internal turmoil. I keep hitting things on my desk. There's currently internal turmoil with the Judgment Day. So I don't know how this will end. I don't think the Judgment Day will ever break up. They've all were involved in John Cena's second to last match. John Cena had a match against Dominic Mysterio for the IC title, and every person in the Judgment Day got involved. So I feel like that was a good sign for the Judgment Day, and I don't think they're going to break up anytime soon. But there's always internal conflict with the Judgment Day. Just know that. So I mentioned Stephanie Vaquer when I was talking about the Judgment Day. Stephanie Vaquer is the current WWE Women's World Champion. She most recently had a triple threat match between herself, Nikki Bella, and Raquel Rodriguez. Stephanie Vaquer pinned Nikki Bella after Raquel Rodriguez kind of served her on a silver platter, right? So I feel like maybe the whole Nikki Bella thing is gone and dealt with, but I don't think that the whole Raquel Rodriguez story with Stephanie Vaquer is done because, yes, Raquel Rodriguez had that match won if it wasn't for Stephanie Vaquer throwing her out of the ring and taking her pin. So I feel like Raquel is still going to challenge for that match. They're still going to have at least another match for that title. Maybe Liv Morgan gets involved, maybe she doesn't. I don't see Stephanie Vaquer losing this title to Raquel Rodriguez. All due respect to Raquel, I don't think she'll lose it to her. I do think Raquel Rodriguez deserves an IC championship or something, but I don't think she's ready for the big title. But I don't think this feud is over. I think they've both been really great in this feud. Raquel Rodriguez has been really great in this feud, and she's impressed a lot of people. I've always liked her, but she's honestly impressed me too. So what's her name? Big Mommy Cool, I think is what she called herself. So that's the storyline happening with Women's World Championship. And I feel like Liv Morgan's going to get involved at some point. And finally, we have the Vision. There's multiple storylines happening here. So Austin Theory is the newest member of the Vision. The Vision is compiled of Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul. Austin Theory has been feuding with Rey Mysterio. They recently had a match on Monday Night Raw where Logan Paul got involved, so it ended in a disqualification. I feel like Austin Theory should have at least won that match and then had the whole thing happen at the end, but whatever. It ended in a DQ. And then Penta got involved, so I feel like that's definitely going to be something. So it's going to be Rey Mysterio and Penta against Logan Paul and Austin Theory, probably. I also feel like Bronson Reed's going to be a part of this whole thing. So then Rey Mysterio and Penta are going to bring Rey Fenix, and it's going to be a 3-on-3 thing at some point. So that's what's happening with the secondary characters of the Vision. Now, of course, they're all led by Paul Heyman, but really the main focus of the Vision is Bron Breakker currently. He is feuding with CM Punk, who is our current WWE World Champion. They have a match for that championship on this upcoming first episode of 2026 for Monday Night Raw. This upcoming Monday Night Raw episode on January 5th. For that title, I feel like Bron Breakker is going to win that title this upcoming Monday. Also because why not, right? Why not? They have nothing to lose. Give him the title if he sucks, and if he doesn't rise to the occasion, then just give it back to CM Punk, and who cares, right? But there's also this story that's on pause in the background because their original leader was Seth Rollins, but then they attacked Seth Rollins to kick him out of this faction. So I feel like for everyone in the back of our heads is the impending return of Seth Rollins and what this means for the Vision. So I don't know if that happens on this upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw, because they're really building this whole episode up. So I feel like something huge needs to happen. But I do feel like I do feel like Seth Rollins is going to be involved, if not now, soon, right? Like maybe the Royal Rumble. So that's kind of there in the background. But the main story that's happening right now with the Vision is that 3-on-3 thing with Rey Mysterio, Penta, and probably Rey Fenix against Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and Bronson Reed, and then Braun Breaker feuding with CM Punk for that WWE World Championship. That's kind of the biggest story that's happening with this. Also, the Vision kind of open and close every show, so that's another thing you need to know. People are getting tired of it. Not me. I like it, but people are getting tired of it. Anyway, there you have it. That is every major storyline that's currently happening on WWE Monday Night Raw. There are small storylines that affect episodes here and there, like the like Otis and Tozawa are kind of always there, but they're just like hanging out. Rusev hasn't been on RTV in a few weeks, but he was feuding for the IC title, but he kind of has no direction right now. Same thing with Sheamus. So there's a lot more characters involved, but like we kind of don't know where they're at right now. And that's fine. That's not the point of this video, right? We're just talking about every major storyline. But anyway, let me know in the comments if there's anything I forgot, if there's any storyline that you think should have been mentioned in this video. Let me know if you're new to wrestling or you're coming back. We can chat wrestling, man. Come check out some of my other videos. They're a lot of fun. They can kind of tell you everything that's happening right now in WWE. Anyway, though, as always, since you made it this far, make sure to drop a like. If you don't have a wrestling guide, feel free to follow me. I have a lot of videos. I'm sure you'll enjoy some of them. But as always, have a nice day.